Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to a couple of different things. This is off the board. The month is off the board, which means we're using Pinterest pins to inspire our layouts. And MK and I decided to do something a little different for the month of July, and we're going to film some stuff in real time for you. Some mixed media on Mondays, bringing back Messy Monday a little bit. Also playing along with some different hops and applying our layouts to that. So Mondays we're going to be doing our background stuff and our mixed media. Wednesdays we are going to pull a kit together to work with that background and the photos we have chosen. And then Friday we are going to make our layouts. So it's going to be kind of like one layout spread out throughout the week. This is for a couple of different reasons. We're both traveling this month and we have quite a bit going on. So we thought this would be a great way to pack for our retreat, but we also don't want to take mixed media with us because that is, well, I'm flying. And so that's always a thing. How much weight can I actually take? And we just thought it would be fun to do something a little different. We also may not be getting as many layouts done at our retreat, just simply for the fact that we are hosting the retreat and teaching some classes at it. So this is our Wyoming retreat. Anyway, enough talking. I have two photos that are swimming photos. I went to Pinterest and I just basically typed in swimming layouts. And a lot of them came up with waves on them. And yes, I know pools don't necessarily always have waves in them, but I'm going to be using some waves because it not only pulled up swimming, it pulled up beach, but it also did pull up swimming layouts with waves. And so I was inspired to pull out some waves. So I went to Creative Fabrica and looked up some things that had waves in it. And I came up with this cut file that is, I don't know if it was meant to be as a cut file, but that's what I'm using it as. So it had one little snag right there. And then I altered it because it really just had this sun and waves, and then it had the sun rays. And I do have the rays, I just didn't pull them off my mat because I didn't want to lose them. So I split my cut file apart and created some more waves based off of that wave so that I could layer them up and have a couple of layers. And sometimes the little corners don't like to cut out perfectly. Also, I did not have this on the correct paper setting when I did it. The paper that I'm using here is close to my heart, Daisy, White Daisy. And it was set up for cutting on koala paper, which is what I use for printing photos and not photos, but what are they called? Embellishments, if I'm doing embellishments at home. So I print them on there and then I use the print and cut feature. So in theory, my waves should go something like this. Something like that, maybe, or maybe it's like this. Yeah, something like that. So we have a lot of waves over here. And then I did create a smaller one thinking maybe I can use it down here. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But to get started, I am going to use some watercolor paper. This is cold press paper from Fluid Watercolor. It's 140 pound, 300 GSM. This is 15 sheets that are bound on the top and the bottom, and it's 12 by 12 inches. That's why I like this paper. It's 12 by 12. And it's going to give me a palette to do some watercolory type stuff on, and it's going to take the water a lot better than cardstock will. So that's my plan. But I'm thinking that I need to mark off where my waves go, because I think everything from here down I want blue, and then from there up I want like orange. I am going to be playing along with another hop later in the week that requires complementary colors. So those are the colors that I chose, mostly because my photos are blue. So here's my photos. It's the little guy I take care of, learning the basics or the beginning of the backstroke. And he is 3.5. So he's been doing swim lessons since he was a tiny little guy. Some say 3.5 is still a tiny little guy, but you know, he's been doing swim lessons for a couple of years already. And so that's what he was practicing there. He loves the water, and they have a pool and a boat. So it's really imperative that he knows how to swim and be able to manage in the water. So I'm thinking I'm going to mark this. I'm trying to center it this way, left to right and top to bottom. Oh my goodness, this piece doesn't want to come up. So about right there maybe. So I'm thinking if I go about here and maybe there, let's go ahead and throw a T-square ruler on that and see how off I am on my lines. Okay, so about right there. Obviously none of that's going to show because I am going to use the cut files. I do have to mix media those up, but I want to do my background first. And because we are doing this in real time, this video may be longer, but but you're not getting as much done on the page. So I went to my swatch book. Well, I'm going to my swatch book. I did have a preliminary look at it just to kind of find out what sections I wanted to be in. And it is broken out by, these are powders, like the Lindy's Magicals and the infusion inks. And then I've got inks, stamping ink, and then I've got like actual watercolor stuff in here, including the shimmers, and then I've got sprays. So I am going straight to the Lindy's and looking. So I think this blue Hawaii would work. Let's see here. That's not blue Hawaii. And of course you get to sit with me while I try to find the right color. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. Well, where's my blue Hawaiian? There we go. Blue Hawaiian. I think I might pull some of this Nuvo Shimmer powder, which this is like a darker blue and that's like a brighter blue. So I might pull that out, but I think that's gonna maybe be for my waves. Let's go over to the actual watercolor and see what we've got here. I'm kind of liking this, but I think I want to lighten it up a little. So maybe with a little of this. So these are two different brands of watercolor. This is a liquid watercolor. This is the Gansai Tambai watercolor palette that I have. No more blues on that side. So I think I'm gonna pull this and this. So EL 580. And however you say that. So I've got those two. And a watercolor palette, which is fairly dirty. So let's just get started with that. I'm gonna do my background first. My top portion where the sun is going to be orangey yellow maybe. But I'm gonna start with this bottom part. And I'm gonna use a big fat brush because I want some good coverage down here. I do need to move the photos out of the way so they don't get wet. I think I'm just going to use this little paint pan right here because that's empty already. And then I'm going to pull in my cat bowl, which is not really a cat bowl. It's called a rinse well. But, oh my goodness, the water in it's so dirty. Dirty meaning it's just been sitting here and unused for a little while. So it actually does have dust in it. And I don't really want to put the dust back into my watercolor pans. So you push the button, you hold it down, and it rinses, and then the water from the bottle, much like a cat or dog bowl, fills up down here. There's actually a hair right there. So let's get that ready. I think I'm going to start with this one. This is GT66, and they're marked with like little numbers under them. There's no name. That doesn't look like a lot of blue right there, but that's what that is. So in order to get that wet, I'm going to start. What the heck? Why is my spray bottle not spraying? Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. Ah. Something's going on with my spray bottle, you guys. I don't know what it is. Okay, let's... Of course, this happens when you're filming live. I'm going to set that one aside and grab my other spray bottle, which actually needs water. Okay. Let's see if this does a better job. Okay. I'm going to give that lots of water because I need it juicy because I've got a large surface here. This one is a liquid watercolor. Oh, goodness. It was closed up tight. I'm just going to throw some of that in there. And we're going to take this big old brush and goodness, I need more room on my desk. I need a bigger desk. Or I need to clean it up. One or the other. Okay. Let's see here. Can I fit all this on here and still fit you guys in frame? You know what? This can go right up here. We'll go right there. Then they're next to each other at least. Okay. Okay, you're still in frame. Sorry about that. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and wet my paper, but I don't really want my paper wet above this line. So I'm just going to take some water and give it a nice line there and then wet it. It doesn't need to be completely soaked, but that's going to help the watercolor to move down the page a bit. So I think I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up and have it get, I don't know if it should be darker at the bottom or the top. In the photo, because it's a pool, it's darker at the top, so that's what I'm going to go with. Let's mix a little bit of that in. A little bit of water there. A little bit darker. And then I'm going to go back this way and darken it up a little bit. Ooh, that's really dark. And I'm okay with it having a kind of a drippy effect. That's totally okay. But I want to keep that bottom really light, so I'm going to just kind of stop right there, wash my brush off. And then I'm just using my rag over here just to kind of wipe it off. You could use a paper towel also. I don't know. I find the rag to be very helpful at times because I often forget to have a paper towel ready. I'm just trying to like blend it out a little bit so it doesn't have the big splotches as much. But it will also settle because it's watercolor, so it'll kind of do its thing and not leave big marks. But I think that's going to be pretty good right there. That kind of makes me happy. I might go back up here just to, that's where my line is. Not that it's a big deal, but let's see what it looks like. Okay. Keeping in mind that a lot of this is going to get covered up with my other layers of waves. So I'm going to call that good on that part. And then the top part's going to be orange. I think I could probably do it without worrying about it. It's pretty warm here today and dry. The humidity is low. So it can dry. But while that is doing that, let's go look at what we can pull for a sunrise. It's not really sunrise, it's afternoon, but that's okay. A hot blazing sun, that's what I'm gonna call it. So here's my orange options in these, and I could use a powder because the powder you could mix up as a watercolor, but I don't really have my powders swatched completely as a watercolor, except for like the back side it might have it on it, and that's like this one has that's what it looks like blended. But you can see I'm very light in my oranges over here. I do have a peach, but I'm light in the oranges, so I think I'm going to stick with the oranges over here. Hopefully you were able to catch all that on camera. I think I'm going to pull out this dandelion for my light color. And then, I don't know if I want to go as dark as this. Maybe I'll go the 236. Although, when I mix that and that, you're going to get something closer to the light of this. I think I'll start with this. If I need to darken up some of it, I'll end up with that one. So EL 236 and Shimmer's Dandelion. If you want to know how I store my liquid watercolors, they're in my scrap box. Oh my gosh, they're terribly dusty, but they are in here. These are by Ecoline, and then I put the numbers on them so I know it's EL 236 is the last one in the box. So that's what I'm pulling. And then my Dandelion shimmers. I don't know, I haven't bought shimmers in a while, so I don't know if they've changed the packaging, but I loved it when they were, I think they're like more bottles now, but I loved it when they were like these little pots because they fit in this tray that my friend Janie gave me. So I need Dandelion, which is right here. Another way to find out where it is would be to shut the case, look on the flip side and see what color you're looking for, and then go find the right orange one. So yeah, that's the plan. Okay, so this needs some water in it also, and it needs a moment to get juicy. As you can see, it does take quite a bit of water. I do have a problem, I'm out of space over here, but I think I'll just re-wet this and see what that does. This could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. But I'm not super exact in my watercolor science here, so I think this might be a good, this kind of might take the place of that orange, but, and I'm using my mouth to hold this. There, that brightened it up a little. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go back in over here and see my blue is pretty dry, which is great. I didn't mean to get, well, I did mean to get orange on that to wet that, but I wanna wet this a little bit more. And I know I'm gonna start with the darker and go to the lighter. And I'm okay if it doesn't go all the way to the edge. Could definitely wet it to the edge so it'll be encouraged to run over there. But okay, I'm gonna start with the darker being this side before I mix it in and see what happens. Oh, that's actually not too dark, you guys. That's not nearly as dark as I thought it would be. And this over here is going to be, oh, a lot yellower, which is okay. That's totally okay with me. A little bit like a sunrise. I might add a little of this number 30 Gansai Tambai, which is, oh, pinky red. A lot darker. Am I brave? Keeping in mind this is going to be largely covered up by some of the waves and such. Down here, I think that actually looks really good. It's kind of bringing in some depth of color and going more for that, more like a tequila sunrise. I don't know. I could be making that up. Okay, so I think I'm going to call that good and let that dry. And I'm going to go ahead and dry that off because I don't need this big brush. This is like a 1-inch brush. It's by Andrea Nelson. I don't remember what her website is. It was A Dream or a Day Art, but she rebranded. So, yeah, not really 100% sure. And it doesn't fit in the holder, so it just gets set across there. Now the thing about watercolor is you can't really close it until it dries, otherwise it can get moldy. So I'm just gonna set that up top there with the lid on the side. This one, now I need more space. I need more surface room, guys. I'm gonna set that up to the side. This doesn't matter so much. I do need my cat bowl out still, because I might leave this out too because I might use some blues out of there. I'm gonna set this aside so it can dry. We have lots of drying surfaces tonight or today. Okay, let's go back over here. I know I said this blue Hawaiian. Okay, blue Hawaiian. I was gonna pull out the shimmer powder. And then I might go with something a little more greenish. Or should I go with the darker blue? Okay, we're gonna try the blue Hawaiian. And I've pulled out the shimmer powder from Nuvo. I'm going to test that, I think, on a little piece of paper before I get too wild. And I think this is the perfect piece of paper. That is like the inside of the little sunset over here, but that's going to give me a chance to kind of look and see how I want this. And these, I just do them on my desk, you guys, unless I use the pan over there. But I think I'm just going to do them right here. Just right there. Get rid of some of the orange water there. So that's pretty. And that's, I kind of want to just tap it around and not have it be like perfect coverage. This is also not like, ooh, that's a lot, you guys. This is not watercolor paper, so it's going to take it a very, very differently. And that's pretty too. So I've got this like moody look over here and then these brights. Let's see how that looks with the photo. I don't want to set it on there. There's the photo. I think it can do it. I think it'll work. It can do it, meaning the layout can take it. Okay, so I think I will go with this darker one. Let me be smart about this. Let me tape off. I want to tape off my waves here, or my sun. so I don't just like spray it all over it. This is just blue tape, the mint tape, not blue tape, mint tape from scrapbook.com. Nothing super, super fancy, but gets the job done. It is great stuff. Kind of like Post-it. You could also get the full-backed Post-it tape, which they make in a roll, or they make it in Post-it notes. Either way can work. This is only going to matter for this particular piece because the other ones are full waves. So just being cautious on this one. I think I'm just going to take, and maybe I'll tap it off into there. And that'll give it some extra shine. Extra shine. I don't know, I kind of like it better just tapped into here. Yeah, I kind of like that better. It's all good. Although I do not want it to look like I just tapped blue all over, if that makes, I want it to be good coverage. I'm trying not to mix up the powder in there too much and let it kind of just sit on the top. This seems to be working better for me. Just splotching it on like so, giving it maybe some wave texture, but not a texture of a paintbrush that has been splotched on there. And then I'm also trying not to dip my sun back in the mess that I've already made because I don't want my sun to be blue. A little more water in there. And then of course this is going to need time to dry because this is going to be very saturated. Maybe I should have cut these out of watercolor paper, but I don't think I've ever tried cutting watercolor paper on my silhouette. It might work fine. If you've ever used watercolor on your silhouette, drop me a note below and tell me how it worked. I don't know why it wouldn't. Okay. Try not to be super perfectionist about this because you know, these things in life are not perfect, so that's my theory, but I still struggle with trying to make everything perfect, so there is that also. It's my own internal battle, I suppose. Okay, I'm liking that, although I'm not liking that there's like 3 dots right there, so I'm gonna kind of go and put a little bit more in there. Kind of tap around, get this a little bit darker right there. And then I'm going to call that done for my first layer of blue. My first, I'm not doing another layer on that. It's my first layer of blue on a wave. Okay. I kind of feel like I mixed those two up. I have no idea at this point. So we're going to go in with, I could have sworn I was using this one, but here's all we can tell. Yeah, I think it's the darker of the two. I don't know. I don't even know at this point. I think I am going to actually pull in a darker one since these two are pretty close together. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, see, this is the one I think I just used. It is. Okay, sorry. I'm mixing myself up over here, you guys. I have a horrible memory, and if you know me well, you know that about me. I can't remember 5 minutes. Okay, this one I'm just gonna go ahead and put some powder all over it. A little different technique equals a little different outcome. Obviously, this is a lot of powder that I'm putting on here, but I do want some good depth of color. So, and I don't want to have to mix it up too much. I want to be able to just kind of tap my paintbrush on there and get loads of color. And see, I kind of feel like it is the color I just used. But maybe it's going to look different when all is said and done. The other way we can get some definition in the colors is, between the colors, is to just ink the edges up when all is said and done. So that's another good option. Try to work with my brush wet enough so it activates the powder really well. It starts to get dry and then it looks splotchier and less natural. Let's see here. Does it look different? Yeah, it looks a little different. I'll put a little more powder on some of these areas. And I'm okay if it gets like super wet and my paper feels like it has been dipped in water. That's totally okay. It's going to take time to dry and I'm okay with that. That is why we are doing mixed media on one day and picking our supplies on another day and then putting it all together on the final day. And here's my problem again. I gotta have a place to set it. So on top of my water bottle there, maybe. I should have set up my extra table for this business, but I did not. Okay, now I need another color, you guys. Another color. Another blue, but maybe like a turquoisey blue or teal. Thinking this one, it's kind of moody. But I do like the moody ones because my background's a little bit moody, and so this might tone everything else down. So this is Lindy's Magicals. It's called Dunka Biscuit Blue Green. Now I just gotta find it on my shelf. This is actually one of my favorites. Okay. And I think I will do that same technique of doing the powder right on the top. This is the middle layer, I believe. If it's not, oh well, we're kind of down that path now. Yeah, I think this is the middle layer. Maybe I can set this one up here now to dry. Okay, swapped them out. I'm gonna do that same technique of tapping them right over. There's a ton of powder in here for what you get. The pigment, there's, oh my gosh, there's so much pigment. This little bottle is, it's almost full. If you buy the little round ones that came in like the 5-pack before they went to the shaker bottle, they don't come with as much in it. You can still buy a shaker bottle to move it over, but you get like half as much, I think. At least that's my experience. I don't know if that's like by design, but here's what came out of the little round pots that are more like the shimmers pots. But this one is, I can see that it's up to about here. So you get quite a bit more. In case that's of interest to you. All right, let's see what we get over here. Ooh, that's pretty. I know it looks very similar on camera, but it's definitely moodier. It's got a little more green in it and a little more kind of a, almost like grayish. It's moody water. Is that a thing? Oh, I love it. I love watching the little pigment move around. And I could add a little bit more pigment right here. That's so pretty. These white spots are just not soaking in, which is fine, but you can see I'm definitely going over them. It's just where the pigment wants to move to. I'm okay with that. Can add a little bit more if you needed. The reason I'm not using the infusions for this is because the infusions have walnut stain in them, and I didn't want to make brown. They can go brown really quick. They're great for grunge, but that's not this layout. So the Lindy's are perfect for this. The Nuvo one worked really well, but I think this looks really cool. This is actually kind of cool because in my photo, it kind of actually brings out the grays that are in here, which I kind of love. I kind of love that, you guys. I think I'm going to do this one in the same color, this little guy, if I can pick it up. Because if this is the middle layer, this will be at the bottom, so, and it will be a good contrast between the blue in the background. That's my thinking. It could all go horribly wrong when it's all said and done. We'll see. Sometimes that happens. There have been times where I have scrapped a piece of mixed media. I don't usually throw it away. I usually either A, put it in a giveaway pile, and then I put it on a give and take table, and people make beautiful things out of it, just stuff I didn't think to do, or it just wasn't exactly what I wanted for that particular layout. The other thing I do is use a punch and like cut it into hexagons or circles or something like that, just to give it, if it's really like an overwhelming piece, like there's lots going on and it's very in your face, it will give it, it'll tone it down for you. So those are a couple of ways to kind of do that. All right, now these all have to dry, and I need to come up with some orange for my son. My son. Piece that was not. I probably shouldn't set this on top of a black soot ink pad in case there's any black soot ink on there. That could be very dangerous. I have black all over my wave. That would not make me happy. Okay, now for the sun. Okay, so that was Blue Hawaiian Blue and Dunka Biscuit Blue Green. That's from the Tea and Crumpets set. And then some Eco Line. Let's see what we're gonna do for the sun. Where did I set that to dry? Oh my goodness. Right next to me. Hello. Okay, so now I gotta take all these off. Try not to rip anything. Pulling towards the paint so I don't rip it, because it's still wet, so I don't want to take the chance of ripping it. It gets looser as the paper's wetter, like it doesn't want to stick to it. Just being very cautious there. And now I need to put these back on over the blue, but that needs to dry. So I got to figure out an orange for this. Let's set this up here. I think that's going to look really kind of cool once you get the moody pieces on here. Look at me, I'm all anxious to see how it looks already. I think this is my least, the actual sun one is my least favorite. I don't remember which one's the front and which one's the back. Oh, I kind of like that. I kind of like that, you guys. I do feel like this needs to get cleaned up, but I might ink it and we'll see. Yeah, that should be good. I gotta come up with orange for that. So what color of orange am I gonna use? Something brighter or something darker? Let's go see. And as you saw earlier, my oranges in these are very limited. could go with like a golden sands. I could leave them white. Let's go see what we have in actual watercolor orange. I could do the cantaloupe, which is a shimmers, but I feel like that might blend in too much. I don't know. Hard call, hard call. I'm looking to see if the yellow is any better. My other option, you guys, is gold. To do a gold. Or this minor 49er. This one's called Get Glowing. That could actually be really good because it's very much like this mid-tone here. And that would show up down here. It wouldn't show as much down up there, but... And I do actually have some good golds over here. Ooh, I'm thinking a bit of bubbly. That's probably a really good one. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. A bit of bubbly. I don't know if you can see that. It's very shimmery. And that is a Lindy's Magical. I don't know what set that's from. A bit of bubbly. It is right there. It's from the set called Drink Me Silly, which is a really fun set, actually. It's got a mojito color. It's got some, I think, like a pink champagne kind of a color. Oh, I don't know why I'm putting that away. I actually need that. I kind of feel like I want to clean this up in here, which I could potentially do. Let me get a really fine, this is not a really fine brush, but this is a really fine brush. Let's go ahead and just pull some out of here. Doesn't take much to clean something up. I think it's just that the two little areas were really white right there. That made it look kind of funny. And I know these are not perfect areas either, but that's okay. At the end of the day, is it gonna matter? Probably not. I don't know that anybody else will notice besides me, and maybe you. I am putting these down super light, you guys, because like I said, this is still wet, but I don't want to really, I could hit it with the heat gun, but I don't want it to warp, so I think I'll just be super careful bringing it in there. And I think the bit of bubbly I can mix up a little bit better ahead of time on my glass mat here. But our first order of business will be to grab my rag here and make sure there's no blue. Okay, a bit of bubbly. And I want to make sure I don't have blue or green left in my water here. I don't need any help making it an ugly color. I don't know that I need this big brush either, but maybe for the sake of actually getting it on there, I actually need more. Thought I had a lot in there, but apparently not as much as I thought. It's just really shimmery. Ooh, that's pretty. I didn't mark this one off just mostly because it's such a narrow area. I didn't feel like if I marked one side, it would be blocking the other side. If that makes any sense. This color is very transparent. So, oh, there's a lot of yellow right there. Am I okay with that? Sure, it's streaky, but that's okay. Probably a little like a sun. I don't know. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to pop a little bit more in there. I'm like, what did I do with the bottle? Okay. We're getting there. And I can't do this left-handed, so I gotta turn the whole thing around. If you don't think you can do something with that hand, don't do it, because I'll just make a big old mess. That's my laziness coming through. Like, too lazy to turn the cut file around. Okay. Normally I would just take another piece of paper and wet all that and pick it up, but I'm not doing that right now just because I don't even know how long we've been on so far, but I think my mixed media is done. Let's go ahead and remove the papers and hope we don't have any green. Oh, it looks pretty good. Okay, I do see that I need a tiny bit more right here. I don't know that going into the bottle like that's a really great idea, but this brush does not pick up a ton of water. Okay. There we go. We got a little bit of green happening there, but it's very minimal, so I'm happy with that. We're gonna set it on top of the background and see how it looks before I put everything away, because there might be a reason we might need to touch something up. I have no idea. Okay. So here's our background, which I think is really cool. It came out great. Ooh, I like that. Oh, you guys, I need to do all the sun rays. Good thing we didn't put everything away. I don't remember which one of these was going first. I think it's the other way. I don't know. I'm gonna go back and forth on these for days. No, it's this way. That's what happens when you make something yourself and then you're like, oh, how did I make that? Okay, I like that. I kind of wish I'd done this one in this color. It is what it is. At the end of the day, when I get the photos on there, I think it'll be okay because it's going to be a little bit different anyway. I think my photos are going down the here. Maybe, and then maybe this guy will go down below. I think it's okay. I'm considering going back in over this one with a darker blue. Just considering it, you guys. Maybe something like one of these blues. Darcy and Denim would be really pretty. I think I'm gonna let that dry a little bit longer. This is me procrastinating in making decisions. Okay. I'm just pulling these off my mat to the side. These are all the little sun rays that get put back on. So I need to go over these with the gold. which I almost completely forgot to do. So a bit of bubbly is coming back out for a little play. And that is not the brush I want. This is a brush I use for acrylic, like when I'm really like gooping stuff on. It's not the brush you want to use for watercolor. I don't recommend mixing your watercolor brushes and your acrylic brushes. Once they're an acrylic, they do not handle water like they should. I love this color. It's so pretty. It's so shimmery. I don't know why I'm spraying that. I could just pick up water. A little bit more on the desk there. See if there's enough for that last bit. I think that's good. Tiny bit more. Getting the last dregs of it off the desk. Okay. Okay. Those are done. Let's see, did I clear that guy out? The other thing is, I don't know if I should actually be using my actual watercolor brushes with a shimmery paint, but I am. And I am not a serious watercolor artist. I don't really know how to do it, except for what I've self-taught. I do have a friend that has walked me through a little bit of it, but it's very, very minimal. So, yeah, probably don't want to use your good watercolor brushes. I mean, mine are not super expensive watercolor brushes to begin with, but you probably don't want to use them to do your sparkly stuff if you're a serious watercolorist. But okay, now let's see if I've gotten up the guts to go ahead and mess around with this guy one more time. I'm playing with this idea of just doing that. Not that I don't think my sparkle's gonna come out. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna spread pigment over there, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like if I don't cover it up, it's gonna be a hot mess. If I do cover it up, I'm okay. The one time I don't, though, is when it's gonna not go in my favor, so I'm covering that up just because that's a really tight area up there. I'm going to cover this side too. The other areas I think I can handle. Okay, what color did I say? I said Darcy in Denim, which I believe is from the Tea and Crumpet set. If I got really loud, it's because I stood up to find Darcy in Denim, and you are a lot closer to my face now. Okay, let's do a little quick test. We are going to test it right over this blue because then we can really get a good idea of what we're going to end up with over here and if it's going to work in our favor. Ooh, that's pretty. That's a lot moodier. Okay, I'm going to go with it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. I guess it wasn't such a big deal doing this over the ones that don't have the sun rays attached, but man, it's a little scary doing it over the ones that have the sun rays. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and go for it and see what happens. Hope for the best. I kind of like that darker blue. It's pretty. I do not know how I'm going to get that up there. Maybe if I just pick up some from down here. Okay, I think that's a admirable first attempt, right? And I kind of like the speckly look of it, kind of like the other ones, instead of being as flat as the Nuvo one was, which is nothing wrong with it. It's just a different color. And then when I added the other ones that have more like the speckled of the powder in it, it just didn't look as pleasing as I had imagined it would be. So I think this is gonna be a little bit better, provided I don't just make a big mess and make my sun green. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, do we like this better? Okay, yeah, I like it better. Okay. Now, I could have actually just taken this and mixed it up. And where'd that paper go? I'll show you on the back of here how this looks. It's a very moody blue. A lot more pigment would make it darker, but I kind of like the speckly look of it. So that had a big speck in it. So I'm going to leave it and see what happens. Since those other ones have speckles in them and I didn't pre-mix them, this is what we're getting. I probably should go in and swatch those so I know what all of the mixed color looks like. That would probably be a really wise idea. A project for another day. All right, you guys. That was Darcy in Denim, and I believe that's also from the Tea and Crumpets set. And I have no idea where the lid is. So, oh, it's under here. Okay, so as I clean up, I'm gonna get this all put away, and then I'm gonna create a kit after everything is put away, and that will air on Wednesday. It will be the kit that I am taking with me to Wyoming to actually make this layout. I do not have any other embellishments picked out. Some might say this is enough, but you guys, I'm ripping the paper. Okay, it started to rip right there. Oh my goodness, and this one's starting to blend. Note to self, wait till it's dry and don't rush yourself. Okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna clean up, and I will be back on Wednesday with putting a kit together in real time so you can see my thoughts. I will see you then. Bye.